Hey yo, what is up? I guess we are live. I also didn't expect to be live today, so it's also a surprise for me, guys. But you sent me a lot of videos, especially Gigi and Suyama, if I'm pronouncing the name right. I really hope I'm doing that from the bottom of my heart and I'm not mistaken. But let me set this is public and it should be fine. For now, let me check the audio. One sec. Yeah. I guess it's working. Doing that from the bottom of my heart, and I'm okay. So the audio is fine. Let's type welcome here to see if the chat works. Not mistaken. But let me. It's also very nice the fact that you can hear me because I can't really um talk that loud. It's a bit late, you know. Okay, I guess the chat is not working yet. Well, that's something that I have to fix right now. Give me 1 second. And we got 3 videos. One is very, very important because it's from David, the creator of the first three. For those who don't know, that game really inspired me. When it comes to game dev, David is doing a great job. I hope you guys got the Discord notification though. The one that I'm live. Maybe now it's gonna work. Okay. The bot is here, but what about the chat itself? Hmm. One moment. Someone is here with us. Hello, Anonymous. Widgets. Let's see, go scroll the chat. And yes, you heard that well because I'm gonna react to the videos that you send me on my Discord server, which is pretty dope to see what are. Oh, Rover Noko. It's one. What? It's 1:50 a.m. here. Jesus Christ. Rover, where are you from, buddy? I forgot. Oh my God. And why you aren't asleep? Wow. I'm glad the chat works though. Okay, let's jump into the videos. Let me know if the audio is okay. Oh, Jesus Christ. India.
Hey
Oh,
everyone, David here. It's been a while.
how are you doing? By the way, this guy, I know if you're doing some code cleanup. Oh my God. Nightbird. This guy, I've mentioned this guy a lot. South India. Oh, okay. No, I've mentioned this guy. Yeah, audio is good. Thank you very much. I've mentioned this guy a lot of times. Well, guess what? He's back. He's literally back. Oh, I forgot to change the screen. So funny. Okay, let's go.
I am alive, believe it or not, and I'm doing pretty good. I haven't posted anything anywhere for a couple years now, and it's honestly been pretty quiet and nice. I've been doing a lot of thinking lately and wondering what I want my life to look like. If you didn't know, I made a game which did pretty well, then I made a YouTube channel which did pretty well, and I got a lot of attention. And then I just fell apart. I needed time to get away, disconnect.
Signoko. Yeah, but oh, you mean the switch for the cameras? Yep.
And understand what was going on in my head.
I mean, listen, you said it yourself. It's pretty late, so yeah. Here it's 10:22, so it's not that late, but yeah, still.
Which was intense burnout and a feeling of being lost. In this video, I wanted to talk a bit about my life the past couple years, and maybe a bit about where I'm going. I also have a big bombshell to drop at the end. I hope you enjoy the video. So, to
Groups.
set some context, I'm a pretty introverted person. I'm not an A-type personality who wants to argue or lead people. In fact, I'm a textbook people pleaser. I deal with a lot of self-doubt, even in the face of success, which is also
Mm.
called imposter syndrome. I remember giving away flyers for my game at PAX and telling people, yeah, you might not like it, you can just throw it away if you want. And my brothers who were there with me would look on horrified and confused. They would tell me, tell people you're gonna love the game, you idiot. And I just couldn't say those things. Probably because I didn't really believe it myself. I
Damn.
was just a guy who wanted to tell stories and games as a hobby, but I was now a businessman, a salesman, a marketer, an influencer, even like a symbol for the indie game dream. It started to feel really weird when people would recognize me and stop me in public. And remember, I'm that shy game developer with self-loathing issues. So to be honest, to have a stranger come up to you and say they love your work, it's quite the experience. This is it, you think. My work is being validated. Maybe I won't feel like an imposter anymore. But then you get home and you still feel that same self-doubt. You feel like you tricked everyone into thinking you're good at making games. You're still reading all the hate mail in your head. The mini celebrity encounter doesn't fix you. It doesn't fill the void. Now, when you combine that self-doubt with an ambitious drive to work and to prove yourself, to prove that you're worthy of love and adoration, it can lead to an unhealthy way of thinking. The irony is that this is what you wanted all along. You wanted to inspire and to share your work with as many people as possible. But with that said, what I didn't expect for me was the sheer volume of people reaching out. So many people who were lost and confused and wanted someone to tell them it was going to be all right, and that maybe I could lend some help because that's what good people do. That's what I kept telling myself. I got a lot of emails. I got emails from suicidal teenagers. I got emails
Jesus.
from children in war-torn countries whose cities had just been bombed. I got a specific email from a 12-year-old trying to flee Afghanistan who had just seen his father collapse in tears in their house. And this child wanted someone who he knew was a good person to save him, so he thought of me and he asked for my help. So many people were begging me for help, and I felt like I needed to help them all because that was the right thing to do. Now, let's combine that with the stresses of trying to be a good father and a good husband in a global pandemic. I'm trying to help my neighbors by locking down. And for the parents out there, you know the challenges that come with
He's now literally showing us what he did in the l- last few years, actually, I think. It's like a sort of a summary or something.
entertaining 2 toddlers and a baby inside the house all day. In my family, I'm also the breadwinner, so now that I was a full-time indie dev, it was solely up to me to provide my family for food, shelter, and medical care. So I diversified my revenue and made this YouTube channel and an online course, Game Dev Unlocked. I thought it would be the perfect way to help people and support my family simultaneously. And I loved making videos and teaching. I thought it was the perfect plan. And I was right to an extent. I had never worked harder on something in my
And what's this?
plan.
I'm curious. HIO profile. I'm very curious. Games. Hmm. What was the name? Wait a sec. Yeah. Is it here though? I think it's this one. Is it? Onesie Games. It really looks nice. Wow. It looks like No Man's Sky, honestly. Add to collection. Maybe one day we are gonna try it. Oh, give me one sec. So I will connect, create an account. Email. Let's go. I'm logging in to my HIO account. device, yes. New device recognized for each IO. Anyways, I don't know why it's a new device. Pretty weird. Nice. Okay. Now let's view all. Hmm. Okay. This one seemed very interesting actually. Maybe we can give them a try one day. Is it add collection? It is. Okay. Nice. And I think that's it. Hmm. I think David removed it from EJO. I'm pretty sure it would have been more popular.
And I was right to an extent. I had never worked harder on something in my life than on GDU. This is where the burnout starts to take hold. I force myself to keep going, even though I'm so exhausted. Admittedly, sometimes it's fear about money, or fear about being judged as a bad person, or fear that my professional legacy,
Wait,
or fear
which game
about
is
being
this one?
judged as
The Last Waterfall. Is it on Steam though? Or is this like a spoiler from David that's gonna show us what's gonna happen in the next few years? I can wait. Damn. One eternity later. Let's check the Last Waterfall. I'm very, very curious now. Come on, Steam. Where are you now when I need you? Anyways, maybe. Please don't ask me any personal information. This is why I'm switching so fast. Um, yeah, I guess it's fine. Yes. Close. Let's see. The Last Waterfall. So it's not public or. Huh. Okay, David. I'm so curious. Steam project. Project Waterfall. Hmm. Okay, he's not here yet.
a bad person, or fear that my
And what does he say about
sometimes
it?
it's fear about money, or fear about being judged as
A gorgeous 3D person adventure game about a coyote cub looking for his missing parents. Take control of the cub and bring back your memories through water on a journey to the last waterfall on Earth. So I think it's pretty similar to the first tree. The first tree, the last waterfall. Sort of like the end of the first tree. Interesting.
a bad person, or fear that my
You
professional
can
legacy will
see.
be that of a
Yeah.
one-hit wonder. So I get to work. I wear a million hats and do a million different jobs, because while the first tree did well financially, it wasn't enough to retire or even hire a team. It gave us a runway of a few years, and that's it. If I
You're Greece? No, I'm not. Why are you asking if I'm from Greece? Do I look like I'm from that country?
had made Lethal Company level of money
By the way, it's such a beautiful country. I swear, the best um beaches and water
for my
are
game, then this story would be a lot
literally.
different. I'm really proud of Game Dev Unlocked. It's easy to only focus on the financial success stories like Brotato and Fireworks Mania from fellow GDU students, but we had hundreds of people make their first ever games and release them. They got to watch streamers play their first games, which is honestly one of my favorite memories when I released my first game. I also
It's Romania. How did you figure it out? And why did you first say
had a
Greece?
lot
Come on, Rover, you really got me curious now.
students who demanded a lot from me, but they were paying customers. I thought for the price I charged, you got a lot of high quality content, frameworks, and personal consultations. But that didn't change the fact that people still hated me for shilling a course. They would call me greedy and send me hate mail just because I had the gall to ask to be compensated for my time. People would make fun of my voice in live streams. They would pop in the chat just to say, wow, only 100 viewers now? You're such a joke, and then leave. And this is after I tried to help as many people as possible. I literally answered every single email that came into my inbox, and we're talking thousands and thousands of messages. I never tried to be slimy and sell GDU to people in a gross way. I just wanted to help because I deeply cared for everyone and I wanted to see them succeed, and I cared about my family who I needed to provide for and pay the bills. My experience with GDU could be a video all by itself, but I'll summarize it like this. I'm proud of it, and I'm proud of my students, but it didn't stop the hate mail, it didn't stop the negative voices inside my brain, and it didn't solve my money problems. I was still making less than my old salary as a technical artist, and my money from the first tree was running out fast. Eventually, a
Think it's such a nice feeling to have your kids playing your game. It's like, wow, your accent confused me. It sounds like a Greece person speaking English. Uh, okay, I will take that as a compliment because I really like Greece. So yeah, finally got you.
toxic mindset lodged itself in my head. If I made a lot of money, my problems would be over, and I would enjoy making games and videos again. By the end of all this, I really felt like I was setting myself on fire to keep everyone warm, and people barely even responded with a thank you. After our basement pipes broke and flooded our whole basement, we decided to move out to repair the guts of our house and renovate some things as well. And it was at this point that I couldn't do it anymore. I couldn't read one more email. I couldn't make one more video. If I opened Unity, it made me literally nauseous. I remember sitting down to work, trying to open my mouth to record a video, and I literally couldn't. It shocked and scared me, honestly. I had never had this feeling before, and I'd been making stuff for as long as I could remember. I had always pushed through no matter how difficult things were, but I had finally reached my limit. The guilt of feeling this horrible when it was my dream job didn't help either. I felt like something was fundamentally broken inside my brain.
Your time in the taskbar gave you away. Yeah, I was thinking about that. No problem. It's not like I'm trying to hide. We are not playing hide and seek. It was easy to find it. Yeah.
I now hated all the things that used to bring me so much joy, and it led to a deep depression. I got professional help at this point, and I left the internet behind. I still feel a bit guilty about disconnecting when so many people needed my help, but it was necessary. The quiet times that followed were really nice.
You know about this thing he said right now? Uh, he's a sort of even therapist. Like you saw the messages he received. To be able to make someone feel better, you have to first feel better. Because if you don't feel okay, you can help anyone. It's a quote that says hurt people. So that's pretty much it. You can be at your best and heal someone if you are not healed.
We had enough in savings for me to take a few months off, which I know makes me really lucky. I spent time with my kids and wife. I did a lot of hiking. I spent time with my good friend Matt. I didn't really make anything, which was unusual for me, but I just didn't want to anymore, which made me feel like a part of me had died. But it was really what my soul was asking for at the time. I just wanted to exist, to be present, not always worrying about my next hit game or always worrying why my last video flopped. I didn't even want to play games, which was weird for me too. It wasn't until Elden Ring came out that I decided to give it a shot, and it honestly was one of the best gaming experiences of my life. That spark of why I liked making games came back.
That's a controversial thing, but to be honest, yeah, it's it is indeed. But this is my opinion. Let me know what's yours.
Back in a small way thanks to From Software. The last few months have been peaceful, and sure enough, a brand new game idea came into my head that actually got me excited. Even now, I'm not fully recovered from this horrible burnout, but it's better than it was.
It's so sad that every game developer I'm listening to had a burnout at some point. So we talked to Freya, the one that we got the interview with. I was listening to Lena Lux, another girl that I'm watching and I really admire. She also had burnout, but I mean, I don't, I think she manages pretty well to do everything in her life, but I feel like she has been through this phase as well. Then I saw Samiam, another girl in this field that I admire. She also had burnout. And it's very sad to see people that are living literally their best life, having their dream job, and at the same time having burnout. Like, yeah, that's a very hard feeling, I guess, that hopefully you and I will not um, feel at some point in our life, but we don't have to guarantee, right?
Looking back, it's pretty obvious what happened. I had lost sight of why I made games in the first place. Instead of being a hobbyist, I was a solo business owner with countless burdens, constantly worried about the future. The question I asked myself is, what did I do wrong? Was the answer to completely follow my passion and forget about money? No, of course not. Was the answer to only focus on money? Well, not that either. Maybe the truth was somewhere in the middle. So that brings me to the present. I've been working on my new game for almost 2 years now in secret. We're almost out of money because I've basically spent it all on our house repairs and this new risky game idea. I've talked to multiple publishers and they've passed on the idea. I've already been rejected a lot, which is really disheartening. But in my heart of hearts, I truly 100% believe in this game idea, and I'm putting in my absolute best effort to make it work. I know deep down it can be successful, but there's still a nagging feeling that I will fail. Which is okay when you consider how much pain my proverbial dream job has caused me. I've learned a ton though, and I'm hoping now to finish this new game with more wisdom and kindness towards myself. The good news is that after all the rejections and hardships, one of my pleas to the void was answered by none other than Jeff Keighley.
We don't have to feel that burnout on, okay, it's too late for that. No, no, no. It's not like we don't have to feel that burnout. I said, I hope you won't feel the burnout, but if you do well, I hope you will get through it well and manage and feel better as soon as possible.
Himself. He's invited me to show my new game to the world for the first time at Gamescom. It's kind of unbelievable, and I'm still shocked it's happening. And a part of me thinks all my troubles might be over, but experience has taught me that's not the case.
By the way, where is this games con? Well, okay. I think in the US, right? Uh, Germany? Really? Oh, wow. I'll get back to you on that controversial topic on your different stream when you stream already. Oh, okay, no problem. You can even talk to it now, but I guess you are going to sleep, so yeah. I don't know. Whatever you feel. Yeah. Okay, well, take care. Oh my god, I like this logo. Okay, this is the best design for a button I've ever seen, I swear. I love it. I'm curious how much is one ticket. I'm very curious. Let's see. Private visitor, trade freedom. Do you have a ticket? No. For all days. What's the difference between these two? Order, blah, blah, blah. Ah, with your company. Okay, I don't have a company yet, so it's not necessary. Uh, settle that CSS, steal that CSS code. We should. My God, I love it. I love it. Hold on. Where was it? More tools. Developer. Let's go. No. What did I do? Is it? Bye now. See you around. Take care. Thank you very much for being here. Have a good night. And yeah, see you as soon as possible and hopefully um, manage the burnout and the things you are going through. Which one is it? Hold on. Control F. So we can we? I forgot how to hold on. It was this button. Am I right? No. Close this one. Oh yes. Hold on. Was it only what am I doing? Oh, this is just the text, right? Yes, I think so. Mm-hmm. Okay. Downtown. Got it. Oh my god, this looks so nice, I swear. Okay, you know what? I think Rover was right. What's this? How long is this code? If I'm gonna copy uh, until here. Yeah, I guess it's not working like that. I'm gonna do it. I'm just gonna take a print screen to remember where it was from, and I'm gonna do it later on.
I still worry that the game idea might not work. It really hurt last week when I let some close friends play the demo for the first time, and they gave me brutal feedback on it. Some people loved it, it's true, but some
I don't think this works for me, and it's gonna confuse a lot of people. It's like you just put things together, you know.
people really did not like
Oh
it at
my god,
all. But that's the risk I'm taking. It's the risk we all take to bring a creative idea to life and share it with the world. And
that's true.
honestly, it might be one of my last big risks I take. So here's the bombshell announcement I talked about earlier. I swear I will leave the industry forever if this new game fails financially. I really just can't do this anymore.
Guys, it's all by his game. I mean, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna buy it, and I'm gonna play it with you. But I swear I wanna see David more. He's very inspirational.
This level of commitment, and it's starting to take a toll, and it's starting to affect my happiness. But if the game does do well, and I can keep making indie games, I have a new plan, which experience and wisdom have taught me. I need to make smaller games, with savings in the bank to alleviate risk and anxiety. I've discovered that if I can make small, inexpensive games and keep it around to 1 year of dev time, it can be the perfect combination for my mental well-being and hopefully my business. So honestly, it's like a win-win situation for me. If the game fails, I can let go and live my life more peacefully with a new day job in another industry. But if the game succeeds, I can make games on my own timetable and find the joy of creating again. I kind of like both options, to be honest. But just know I'm putting absolutely everything I have into this new game, and I will do everything in my power to help it succeed. Even
Wow.
after all the rejections, I believe in this game idea enough to risk it all. And isn't that what an artist does? I'm trying my best to be brave and make something worth sharing, and I hope you stick around to see how it goes. Until then, wish me luck in Germany, and I'll be back to share more. Thanks, guys, for caring. I really appreciate it. I'll talk to you soon.
Wow, he's back. He is back. Oh my god. We have so many stuff to react to right now. I'm literally crying. I'm literally crying. I'm so happy for the fact that he's back. You don't have any idea. And I think he also set few videos as uh public. I don't know why I felt like he had them in private. For example, this one, like no code. Hold on. I think I forgot to switch. Yeah. For example, this one here. I think it's pretty new. Even this one with Thomas. Like, I thought it's the same interview that we watched on a previous live stream, but I guess it's something different.
So you could not let go of those shadows. You wanted them so badly.
Yeah, that was
Okay, this is something that we're gonna watch at some point because I feel like it's gonna be very, very nice. Great. What else do we have? So you guys send me uh this video and this one. I'm gonna close all of this. By the way, I didn't check how much. Ah, okay. So this is the price of a ticket. It's not that bad. I was expecting something around 150 or for example, I think the Unity conference is like that, even more. It's in Barcelona. Um say so 100 something. Congress, day ticket reduced. What's the difference? Like why? Students. Oh, I'm in. Okay, so it's nice. 21 euros. It's pretty dope. Mm-hmm. 24. Wow. Okay, cool. And this is oh, it's online. Online. No, get your tickets now. Oh my god. This looks like heaven. So nice. Wow. Hmm. We don't have a voucher. Let's see who is gonna be here. Can we see? During the adventure sponsorship. Mm, learn more. They don't really give a lot of spoilers in your program. Let's see. Hi guys, I see a lot of you are here right now. Thank you very much for watching. Hopefully you're gonna stay. Mm, oops. Okay, Diablo. My uncle plays this one. I've played this one. I can't wait for this one. Literally, this is sort of the first three game. It's very similar to what David did, so it's 100% on my wish list, and we're gonna see it. Warcraft, nice. I didn't even know they upgraded it and brought it to life. I saw this one on Steam. This one as well, of course. My love. What else? Not a lot of things that I am familiar with. Let's see. Nope. I saw this one on Steam as well. The flight simulator, yes. What else is familiar here? I think I saw this one as well. Hmm. So I guess all these games are gonna be there, right? This looks interesting. The Gap, the Gap PC. Oh, not the full game. I just wanted the trailer. Just skip a bit and see how it looks like. Sort of exploration. I just want to see the trailer. Okay.
That when experiencing deja vu, a strange phenomenon
Hmm.
occurs.
Oh, so is this horror? If it's horror, I'm not in. This is not my type. I get scared very easily. Mystery atmospheric multiple mature, so it's not. Driven by a rare neurological of to recover his memories by exploring parallel realities through deja vu. Okay, the subject is great and seems very, very interesting. You know what? I'm just gonna add it to my wish list because it seems very interesting. Okay, and it was also launched pretty recently, I would say. Nice. What else do we have? Fallout, of course, this was pretty popular as well. Dragon Ball, I think it's a series or something like that. And that's pretty much it. Okay, so what I am very, very excited for is the Feral North. I also like the creator. I'm curious about this ones. Like the images right here are looking great. So, oh my god. Okay. I really like the visuals. I think it was made with Unreal, I'm pretty sure. What else? This one also looks interesting. Wow. Yeah. Damn. This looks like No Man's Sky. Hold on. Can we Starfield? Are we gonna find it somewhere? Let's see. Starfield? Oh my god, yes. Okay, this is quite expensive. Mixed? Interesting. It looks a bit more realistic than No Man's Sky. Oh my god. This is gonna be our future in few years. I really, really, really like it.
We're all here because we're committed to the biggest question of all.
The question is my laptop strong enough to support this game? Because imagine if I'm gonna buy it and it's not gonna work. Okay, pretty interesting. Got me curious. This one also looks interesting. Oh my god. Mm, The five, not five, hold on, the 8-year-old me would be in love with this game. I used to play Children of Nil or something. I don't remember exactly the name, but I used to like it a lot. So yeah, this also looks nice. Oh my god. Okay, I guess I'm just gonna add everything to my wish list, and at some point we are gonna. No, your laptop won't be able to launch it. Robert, I thought you were asleep, my friend. What are you doing? So funny. Oh my god, this looks so great. Yeah, let's see. Hmm, This one also looked interesting. Um, yeah, maybe not necessary. I mean, it looks great. Not necessarily my type, but yes. What else? What's this? Running stream in the background and still cleaning up my messy code. Okay, someone is literally trying very hard to get burnout. I'm sorry for you, buddy. I appreciate the fact that you're here and also the fact that thank you very much for the uh for the fact that you hit the subscribe button. Exadorius. Jesus, guys, I'm so sorry if I misspelled your names. For real. But yeah, thank you for being here. What else do we have? Wow, Project Tower. This also looks interesting. We don't have any screenshots. Great. Let's see. Uh, yeah, not necessarily my type. Oops. I think this was pretty much it when it comes to games. Now we can go back and see events. I'm curious. Hold on, I'm stuck with the chair. Are you guys still able to see me? Yeah. Okay, great. My back hurts a bit. Nice. So, events. Hold on. Is it? Yeah, it's fine. Okay. Um, have you guys ever been here? Oh my god. Wow. Format, trailer, dev interview, let's play. English definitely. Gamescom opening. So this is like the first day. 22nd. Broadcast music. Brawl Stars Championship. Whoa. Gamescom. I swear I wanna go there one day. Okay. Let's see what else do we have here. Gamescom creators. Yes. Let's see who's coming. So, do we know anyone? Area. I think I saw this girl before. Let's see. No, not necessarily. Do you guys know someone from here? I'm so new in this field, and I feel very bad for the fact that I don't really know a lot of people. Okay, unfortunately, I don't know anyone. That's very disappointing. I know, but maybe one day I will. I think I saw her at some point. Don't really hold on. These creators sign autographs. Wow, so many. Um, okay, I really want to get there. Opening. What's this? Opening night. Let's game announcements, trailer and gameplay reveals. So cool. Oh my god. City Festival. Give me 1 second to check something. 1 second, I promise. It's not gonna take that long. I'm literally gonna check on Google Maps exactly where is this place. I mean, I know it's Germany, but I'm just curious where exactly. So, as you can see, is this area right here. Okay, good to know. I've been there multiple times, I think. I've never actually stayed in there, but I've crossed that area. I'm just switching the camera too much because I feel like, I don't know, it's not really the perfect angle, I would say. Maybe I have to play a bit more in the future with it. Trying to get the best angle, but doesn't really matter. Mm, Anyways, okay, so we saw what was going on there and a word. I'm curious about the word. Let's see. Every year, the Gamescom award ceremony is organized. Okay. Oh, best visuals, best audio, best gameplay. A lot of categories. Nintendo. Wow. Do we know someone from here? Camera's fine, right? Is it? Yeah. I don't think I know. I don't know. Winners of the last year. Let's see who. Best visuals. Don't know. Too many pieces. Zelda, of course. I've heard so many people talking about this one. I've never played it because I'm not really into history, but I've heard it's not necessarily only about history. So yeah, maybe I'll check it one day. Like, why not? What else? Still Zelda. Huh. This looks also interesting. Games for impact. Here it is. Sky. Hmm. Very, very good game. Best Microsoft. I don't know. Oh my god, Zelda. I think this game won so many prizes. Payday, I've heard of it, never played it or anything. Yeah, I know this one as well. Sky again for best mobile game. Yeah, it deserves it. Little Nightmares, I've also heard about that one. About the award. Okay, I'm curious now about the winners of 2022. Where are they here? Let's see who won. It's- huh, uh, Road Simulator. I've played this game so much. Age of Empires. I've also heard about it. Flight Simulator. Yes. What else? No, don't know them. Nothing very winner best trailer. Yeah, Hogwarts Legacy. I saw a lot of Twitch streamers playing this game, and I think the graphics are pretty nice. Let's see of 2021, and I think we are done with the website. We can jump back into the video. By the way, for how long are we? 48 minutes. Okay. Whoops. Fast. Of course, Mario. Elden Ring, the one that David mentioned. Okay. I've also heard about this one. Hello, or whatever you pronounce it. Okay, this looks nice. And feels like it's sort of an exploration, a story in ice and time. Okay. Mm-hmm. Hold on. Is it this one? Yes. And who knows? Maybe we can give it a try one day. Why not? Okay. What else? Elden Ring for best role playing game. Hmm. Good to know. By the way, curious now. Elden Ring. This one. Why all these big games are 60 euros? Like No Man's Sky, the one that we seen before. Now this one. This feels like The Hobbit.
Peggy says.
Lord, be it a god. But should he fail to become
Peggy says.
Oh, it's not in English.
Someone must extinguish thy flame.
they will fight. And they will die.
Okay, I think the story is very powerful and seems actually very nice. Now I'm curious about the specifications. Like the ones that my laptop, not the PC, needs to have. Where can I find that? Okay, minimum. We have this one. We got Windows 10. I think the comment stopped for a bit, but I saw over your comment and you said, oh, the greatest game of all time. Really? Now I'm sad I've never played it. Hello, Zahid Dereli. Lol, I'm watching your stream while playing Elden Ring. Thank you so much. How is it though? Is my voice matching fighting with monsters? Hold on, I have to plug in my laptop. Maybe I can play the video, so yeah.
This is me playing games with my mind after I developed a way to do this using only my thoughts.
And by the way, the videos that I'm reacting to right now are the ones that you guys send me on my Discord server. So yeah.
Thank you. Okay, stop.
What is going on here? Jesus.
And I'm going to show you how. Like a lot of people, I love gaming, and since I have a background in psychology and using EEG for medical and research purposes,
I don't know how many of you guys know, but I'm also very passionate about psychology. And damn, okay, we got things in common. It's nice. I found another passionate game developer.
I thought it might be a cool experiment to try and combine the two. At the time, I didn't record or make notes on anything, so there'll be a lot of dramatic reenactments coming up. My original plan was to use EEG, which records the electrical signals your brain produces, to show what my brain was doing when getting jump scared in a horror, for example. Ah! Okay. Or when I was super relaxed in a horror, for example. This was only possible because one day when I was just scrolling through the internet, I discovered that you could just buy a user-friendly EEG, which already was mind-blowing enough for me to get. You could just buy
how much?
Possible because one day when I was just scrolling through the internet, I discovered
Almost $1,000. Jesus. Okay, I mean it's for a device like this. I didn't even know we can buy it. I thought it's only used in labs and stuff like that, like very private contexts, but apparently we can buy it. I don't know, 1,000. Yeah, it's a lot of money, but for a device like this, I think it's okay, right?
that you could just buy a user-friendly EEG, which already was mind-blowing enough for me to get really excited about all the things I could do with this. But I wanted to take it a step further and see if I could use the data the EEG was getting to actually control the game. So my plan was to use this data in a program that would send a signal to press keys on my keyboard. But first, I needed to decide what data, what part of my brain activity would press each key. And I needed to teach it to detect and recognize this so I could actually control it. But I was lucky enough that a lot of this work had already been done for me. This EEG has a software that lets you record your brain activity when you're thinking about different things. This could not be more perfect, and it's such a better idea than me trying to program my own AI model like I was originally planning. So I started recording, attempt after attempt at trying to get it to recognize me thinking about dropping something, or turning left, or turning right, or spinning, or dangling from a string. If it does recognize it, this cube will move, but nothing. No matter what I tried, I couldn't get it to recognize my thoughts. Until... That's a good start! We have proof of concept!
Wow. Okay, you know what I want to know? I want to pin the comment about my Discord server so you guys can join it. Yeah, let's go. In message. And it also works. Nice. Oh, wrong video.
With this confidence boost, I was now more committed than ever, and soon I was able to consistently lift the cube into the air by just imagining that. So the next thing to do was to code this, so that every time I was able to push the cube, it would push a button to do something in game. I thought the easiest thing to do was a left click, and naturally when you think game, you think Minecraft.
Wow.
So it wasn't perfect, but I was more convinced than ever that I was onto something. The problem was that as I was imagining lifting the cube, my eyes would drift upwards and I'd lose focus. I just couldn't hold on to the image for long enough to mine an entire block. So back to the drawing board. I started thinking about what I actually wanted it to do. Just thinking about mining would take a lot of practice to get the same every single time, and I wanted a more universal visualization so that I could use it with different games. But what did mining have in common with hitting a tree, or casting a spell, or even shooting a gun? They all involved moving or pushing something forward. This worked amazingly. It was easy to maintain, and I didn't get distracted as I wouldn't have to move my eyes. Like this, soon we had a mouse click that was easy to control. Most.
Okay, you know what? I'm gonna find the comment where Suyama, I think, dropped the video a few days ago. And I was like, I'm gonna watch it and react it on my live stream. So interesting. Yeah. There you go. Do you have any? No, we don't. Big chat. I'm currently. Okay.
Most of the time. So naturally, it was time to take this live and use it to play Elden Ring. Yeah, Elden Ring. Why not?
Wow.
I was so excited to
It's just about this game tonight. I don't know what's going on, but yeah.
show everyone this insanely cool project. I had spent 3 months of hard work, done long nights and early mornings, and blown through my entire cool project savings fund. I was just about to go live when...
What?
It's a ribbon cable. Can we fix it?
No.
But I wasn't gonna give up. After a moment to grieve, I spent my entire food and shelter fund and ordered another EEG. This time with insurance, and got back to work. Okay, we're ready. This was my second and final shot of making this work. If I blew it, I knew I couldn't afford to try it again. Somewhere to hide, baby. No! Spurred on, I instantly got started on getting another visualization and another button to work. But when I trained one command, the software would get confused and forget the other one. It couldn't hold on to both simultaneously. What my brain was doing was just too similar. So to make the visualizations different, I tried to make the second command as chaotic as possible, imagining music playing and the cube spinning fast so much it became more of a plate in my mind. And to my surprise, this actually worked. One thing that always bothered me about my mind-controlled game controller was the fact that I was still using my hands and a literal controller. The reason for this was because there was no way to fluidly move a camera or character in a 3D space when I was just using yes-no thought recognition. So I thought if hands were the problem, why not try and use some other tech? This is an eye tracker. Using this, the computer knows where I'm looking at on the screen, and also which direction my head is tilting. I used these two things to make virtual joysticks on an Xbox controller and created a nifty little visual to see where they were. It worked, but I did have to fix some sensitivity issues and counteract the dead zones created because of just the nature of using joysticks. Now the only thing left to do was combine them. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a hands-free, mind-controlled game controller. I don't know about you though, but I don't know many games where you can play them with only 1 or 2 buttons. Sure, you could probably get away with a Dark Souls boss or 2 if you never healed. Or you can play a shooter if you don't use grenades or melee or need to switch weapon ever, or use any sort of menu. But that's not gaming. I needed more commands. But no matter what I did, what I tried, I just couldn't get any. It can't tell the difference between my thoughts. Even if I try to imagine something that I think is completely different to anything else that I trained before, it will still get all mushed together. I toyed around with the idea of using voice commands to fill in any more buttons I really needed. It does mean though that when we go into the menu, we don't have the ability to move this way. But this felt wrong. It wasn't mind control. Without more commands though, this would never be a game controller. And everything I had done felt all for nothing. More long nights and early mornings, desperate to come up with something and nothing. Along the journey, this was probably my lowest point. I just can't make my brain do what I want it to do. And usually it's the tech or usually it's the code, but this time it's just me, which somehow feels a lot worse. I still had my phone a friend. It was time to reach out. I'm about to hop on with Emotive, the maker of the EEG and software that I'm using, but it's all very NDA, so you gotta get out of here. After a lot of cool stuff, the main thing that I took from our discussion was how much different senses can actually affect different parts of your brain. A visual idea is gonna awaken different areas than a smell, for example, and all of my commands had been visual. There was a whole world of possibilities that I was just ignoring. I also spent a lot of time with the team down at EarSwitch who were making an in-ear gaming input device, which got me thinking about how I could use my head in different ways. So I decided to wipe the whole slate clean and start training mental commands from scratch to see how good I could make this. Could it be a usable game controller? So here it was, the final plan. Eye tracking and gyro for virtual joysticks, and 4 mental commands for virtual buttons. Pushing a cube, spinning a plate, imagining my fist clenching while angry and feeling hot, and a little cricket hopping while I pulse muscles in my face. I also added a cute little drop-down menu for each of these so I could make them press any button I wanted at any time. Add an option to toggle to spam or hold the buttons, and some sensitivity sliders for the eye tracker, and she was ready. It's ready to test. And if this doesn't work, then I think I'm genuinely out of ideas. I might have to actually accept that I just don't have the level of technology or knowledge on how to make this work right now, which would be soul-crushing after an entire year and hundreds of hours of just training, let alone everything else. And I would have to break it to all of the really supportive people that have been following this journey and the people who are watching it unfold live. With a couple hundred onlookers, I started training. I managed to get a 3rd input, and then a 4th. But it's one thing to be able to move a cube on a white screen. Could I use this to actually game? Pick up this rock. I'm going to hit this rock.
So interesting.
Great. I'm gonna jump. And I'm gonna try to throw a power sphere, but I don't have any. Mind control. And the final test.
Jesus Christ. Fighting. Wow. Imagine doing this only with your mind, literally not touching anything. It's amazing. Wow. It's fascinating, just by focusing on it, being
So
able
there
to
it is. I
do
made
this.
a hands-free game controller.
Damn. Works. Wow. Okay, maybe I can switch my camera there.
This experience
Wow.
really taught me how sometimes we can be so caught up in our day-to-day lives that we don't actually appreciate how hard it is to really control our thoughts and our emotions and even our focus. The amount of appreciation that I gained for those who are unable to game conventionally and have probably struggled every single day to fit in was immense. Since this tech is becoming more and more advanced, I feel so lucky to have been right in the middle of its emergence, and I can't wait for it to become more accessible and available. We take all this for granted, but our brains are amazing, and the things we can do with them are limitless.
That's true. Wow. Okay, this was dope. I'm curious what is she doing now. Microwave play. Ah, okay. This is literally what she did. Nice. Let's subscribe for more because I feel like it's gonna be very interesting. I've heard the words of this. Twitch. Okay, I see. And the other video that you guys sent me was this one.
Today, we're going to show a very basic frame analysis on Need for Speed 2015 to show you how it handles photorealism efficiently on modern affordable GPU hardware. We decided to start this analysis series using this title because despite its notorious gameplay issues, it's an excellent instance where realism is enhanced by art style and atmosphere. In our opinion, these aspects are wrongfully portrayed as opposite spectrums, and when recent studios tried to attempt this powerful combination, they butchered the results with tryhard effects, like blurry, chromatic aberration, constant depth of field, film grain, and more like forced vignette. As a quick disclaimer though, we removed forced film grain from our Need for Speed gameplay, but we'll eventually go over how those effects should be used in limited scenarios. Okay, so we have the game running at 1080p with a VSync locked 60 FPS, with the following settings on an RTX 12GB desktop 3060. During high-speed traversal,
After this video, I won't be able to sleep tonight anymore.
it used at most 51% of the GPU, and we had anti-aliasing turned off because it only offers a very blurry and smeary TAA, since one of the effects in this game depends on it. And the other option is FXAA, which has severe blurring issues compared to SMAA, which can be added using a third-party injector. Okay, so here's the captured frame. It took a total of 9.12 milliseconds to process. We have some per object motion blur running at the bottom here, and it looks nice, but we do have some further comments to speak about later on in the video. This game has very sleek color grading, and I kind of want you to appreciate how they use bloom and lens flaring here, because subconsciously that's really going to hone in that photorealism, because they did it in a way that's very realistic and not too cinematic, because cinematic is just a buzzword really. What you're wanting is a dramatic tone, and that's exactly what they achieved of that effect. Now it does have chromatic aberration, but what makes it so great in this game is that it only uses a small pinch. So small that I actually had to zoom up on the game's image to confirm it was even there, like you would with modern high-resolution camera footage. It's only applied to the edges of the screen. So the middle of the screen where your eyes are mainly focusing on isn't harmed with visibility issues. Now, for the lighting, it has an aesthetic advantage due to only requiring a night only, where plausible shadows and ambient occlusion isn't going to need as pronounced representation. Some indirect lighting seems to be baked, but there are some modding tools that expose some of the more dynamic capabilities being used here. But the real star of the show here is the reflection system. It is screen space reflections, but it includes a very underrated aspect of realism, making it known as caustic SSR, or SSSR. See, most screen space reflections will either run on surfaces with a roughness value of 0, or apply 0 roughness reflections on higher roughness materials, making them look wet or too shiny. What some games do for the second scenario is they offer blurred reflections for higher roughness, but it isn't enough since real reflections give specular elongation based on the viewing angle of surfaces. The Frostbite implementation of SSSR allows Need for Speed to replicate this kind of realism. But every masterpiece has its cheap knockoff, that being Unreal's SSR Quality 3, which displays obvious deviation from reference. This effect is more expensive because it needs more samples. So the original implementation required aggressive, flawed TA to hide low-resolution pixelation. But thanks to a mod that was applied before our frame capture, it proves this TA-independent version is a viable solution in both visual and performance standards on 9th generation hardware, since we found almost no noticeable performance difference while testing, just improved visual quality. We're not saying that this mod just magically makes it better quality. We're saying it's just not going to be a noticeable difference on modern hardware. Okay, so this is the third game. So the first thing it does is recycle and overwrite these 5 textures called render targets. And these are used from the last frame. Here are the highlighted updates in the normal view. And here are the same updates in albedo without highlighting. Each piece of separate geometry is drawn to represent our forward motion. Multiple G buffers are stored in these through the use of different RGBA channels,
For real.
which record the object values like diffuse albedo, normal bias, and simple values like roughness, specular, and metallic that range from 1 to 0. Now these are all object draws in the pipeline, but this one right here took the longest. And if we look at the object, we can figure out why. It's a relatively simple object, but it's responsible for almost 1/3 of the frame's shading due to the camera perspective. But let's compare this road mesh to a much more complex object in the background, like this one right here. Now it doesn't have much surface area presence on the frame, which is a big reason why it didn't take as long, but the material shader is a lot faster. And despite the small triangles here, the performance damage from overdraw caps out. After drawing all the objects, it begins to prepare an optimized HBAO pass. The GPU creates several 270p buffers containing separate sampling information from the 1080p albedo alpha channel to extract the normal bias, and then it does the same for the depth buffer. HBAO saves performance by running its expensive operations at quarter resolutions and using selective sampling. A 1080p AO buffer is then created. Then, a separate shader takes a noisy result and upscales the AO by referencing the detail visible in the original 1080p depth buffer, while copying the depth buffer into the green channel for later calculations. You can see that the AO begins to pronounce its influence on finer objects, but we still have some streaking artifacts. This is mitigated by a blurring shader applied in the next step in the pipeline. Now the HBO shader, the related buffer scaling, and the upscaling blur took around 0.8 milliseconds. Now we have HBAO Plus, which is 3 times faster with double the AO detail. Think about the potential there. After the ambient occlusion pass is finished, and until we get to this expensive chunk over here, all these little draws right here are shadow map drawings, and like I said in my last video, it's re-rendering several parts of the scene from the perspective of visible lights. And notice in each one of these, most of the floors are excluded. The reason why is because that surface area concept we mentioned earlier applies to shadow maps as well. So these lights aren't wasting performance on computing depth and opacity values for pointless floor objects. Okay, so let's get to the juicy area over here. It starts off mip-mapping the depth, then retrieves the last frame's fully post-processed pre-UI mip-mapped frame, references the roughness and normal values found across the original render targets, and the last frame's temporal SSR frame data, to create the current frame's screen space reflection channel. The next step removes the noise in the screen space reflection channel. Next, the GPU begins to compute which lights are visible according to the camera's logical perspective and references a low-resolution depth representation for further light coding. The GPU draws 41 128 by 128 mip-map cube maps to create a specular fallback for reflection. This large chunk over here is responsible for shading emissive materials, shadow maps, and their retrospective lights along with the bloom and lens flares. Then translucent objects are drawn. The GPU then prepares sky parameters like cloud shaders and the moon, which by the way is only 5 by 12 by 512. Then effects like tire debris is drawn, but a high resolution texture containing post-processing information and animation spirits are drawn. Then a mesh deformation shader is drawn with the velocity information so the motion blur can be calculated. Now here are some of my thoughts on the motion blur here. Okay, so I like what motion blur does for the bottom of the screen. It really does add a sense of velocity, but the bottom half is where it really belongs in the scene. There is so much wrong with the rest of the frames. Like you can see over here, if you zoom in, so much clarity is lost right here. Like what you can see right here, motion blur literally reconstructs a metallic bar right here on this bench. Who needs TA when you have motion blur doing this for you?
Thank you very much for I didn't see cool, but thank you very much for subscribing.
So much detail here is being destroyed. We really need...
It's gonna pop up later on, but he's right. I mean, the blur effect, but also we have to keep into account the fact that while you're speeding, of course, it's blurry, right? We don't see anything so clear anymore. So it kind of makes sense
to have motion blur that doesn't do this to the rest of the frame. Maybe by limiting it by depth or limiting it by speed, but this is a problem. This is a major problem, and we need to stop allowing, because I'm pro motion blur, because it's a real phenomenon. You know, several milliseconds of persistence blur, this is still a problem. If you're on black frame insertion, or CRT or plasma, you know, you're still gonna have a negatively affected frame. Okay, so at this point, this is where the scene is mip-mapped for the next frame's SSR reflection tracing. The final frame with film grain, chromatic aberration, and other effects are completed and finished off with UI updates. Now here's a quick breakdown of the rendering budget here. 1.15 milliseconds drawing geometry, 0.10 milliseconds drawing geometric decals, 0.80 milliseconds for HBAO, 1.95 milliseconds drawing 24 512 by 512 shadow maps, 0.80 milliseconds for drawing the screen space reflections, 2.18 milliseconds updating the light culling information, environment specular lighting, and shadow map scene projection, 0.87 milliseconds drawing effect spirits and translucent objects, 0.07 milliseconds drawing lens effects, 0.07 milliseconds drawing Rain's lens effects, 0.36 milliseconds calculating mesh deformation velocity for motion blur, 0.12 milliseconds running post-process effects like color grading and vignetting, and 0.15 milliseconds drawing the UI. And we're going to overestimate and add in a 0.50 milliseconds worth of resource management and other shading information we couldn't translate well for the video. What are the things that you can learn from this? Number 1, constant applied chromatic aberration should only be applied with a light touch. A practice you'll find from the studio is to offer an option toggle regardless of the platform. Number 2, pay attention to your color grading and lens spirit effects because they'll have different but major effects on your atmosphere and tone. Number 3, make sure objects taking up large amounts of screen space due to size or camera perspective are using cheap materials so your geometry timings are lower. Number 4, you now know the realistic impact reflection scattering, elongation, and physically based reflection properties can have on your scene. We now showed it can run without a dependency on broken or flawed TA with a reasonable cost. Now you begin to understand the problems with UE5's implementation with SSR Quality 3 and other ridiculous scenarios you'd find with Cyberpunk. Number 5, you have now witnessed how expensive ambient occlusion is ran at quarter multi-selective resolution and resulted with a stable output without flawed TA, despite recent titles damaging your sense of visual and performance potential ambient occlusion could be providing today. The link in the description of this video provides undocumented information on how to replicate this effect in Unreal. But note, any screen space ambient occlusion is a limited representation of realistic global illumination, so there is still work to be done with ambient occlusion regardless. Number 6, you now know the importance of shadow map object exclusion. It is a legitimate
Gotcha, I saw your name now, so thank you very much for subscribing, Gokhan Yuseki. I really hope I pronounced your name right.
optimization
By the way, this video is very, very interesting and useful and a bit complicated for me, but yeah, it's dope.
technique used by AAA devs working with.
And I also love Need for Speed. I've always been passionate about cars. I got this from my dad, and we used to play Need for Speed together and race together. I had such a great time.
8th generation hardware. But another thing that could save you performance, and we couldn't confirm if it was implemented in this title, is to not redraw those maps if nothing dynamic or moving is included within the range of these lights. Number 7, if you were looking into cube maps, you now have an industry reference on how those are managed in one scenario. But we do feel that cube maps should be deprecated in modern development due to the gameplay related enhancements and recent performance workarounds for ray trace specular representation, whether it be side distance field or triangle tracing. A lot of people are still calling ray trace reflections stupid, and they're right because they're not being implemented thoughtfully for both visual quality and performance. But in motion, cube maps in the most common scenario cause a jarring and largely implausible experience, where ray trace reflections can fix that, and if implemented properly, can provide scattering and elongation for no performance cost when screen space reflection information isn't available. Number 8. If you have a game with a similar environment and scene limitations, you now have a reference that includes the resolution, hardware, and millisecond budget for your game. With this kind of budget, you have room for next-gen enhancements like deferred MSAA, ray trace reflection fallback, and better textures. If you enjoyed this video and learned something new, please support our channel with a like, subscription, or comment support, questions, or feedback to get the YouTube algorithm on our side. And if you really want to take a step further in supporting this kind of content, share this video on a popular Discord server with Videos channel or any game-related subreddit, since these two platforms tend to prevent self-promotion but have a huge impact on our video view success. Well, that's it for today, and if you haven't, please check out this video exposing the manufactured visual problems.
Nice. Thank you very much, guys, for recommending this video. It was very, very interesting, I would say. Okay, so let's see what else can we react to. Give me one moment so I can try to find something interesting to watch. By the way, guys, if you have any suggestion, feel free to drop it in the comment section. Actually, I found one. What is itch.io?
If you truly want to
And a short history of one of the most unrestricted platforms for game developers. I don't know that much about itch.io. I first heard about it from Thomas Brush, the guy that I keep mentioning, and I published my game. By the way, I haven't really checked in a lot of time. So maybe, okay, you can actually see. This is my page, dashboard. Do we have how many views? 39 views, 7 downloads, and 3 followers. Can I see my followers? JJ, let's go. Nice. Okay.
find the most independent, refreshing, and sometimes bizarre gaming experiences, you would go to itch.io. If you aren't familiar with the platform, itch.io is a website for independent digital creators to sell their games and accompanying assets with almost complete freedom over everything, from the price of the game to the design of the sales page and much, much more. As of 2022, the platform hosts over 500,000 games and items, and creators can take home as much as 100% of their revenue due to the platform's open revenue sharing model. But when the site launched in 2013, the success that it enjoys today was not expected.
So it has 11 years. Wow.
Or even planned in the first place. Earlier that year, Leif Corcoran, the creator of itch.io, initially just had the goal of programming his own computer language called Moonscript, which, in Leif's words, is the first programming language inspired by the popular anime Sailor Moon. Later, he wanted to do something with this new language, so he started making games. So when Leif set up itch.io for the first time, it was simply as a place to host and sell his games. He wasn't trying to totally revolutionize the system. Even the name itch.io wasn't planned. Leif stated that he bought the domain the previous year, so he used it for this project. In 2012, Steam had just debuted a new program called Greenlight, where users could vote for games they would like to see added to the Steam service, as well as provide feedback to game developers. The problem with Greenlight, as Leif put it, was that there was a sort of gatekeeping in the way of new titles, and Leif wanted a freer distribution platform without this resistance on itch.io. He was additionally inspired by Bandcamp, a platform where musicians can easily share their music with fans and be directly supported through the website. Leif thought that the same concept could be applied to indie game developers who wanted a simple and easy way to share their games. However, this first version of itch.io opened to practically zero fanfare. Leif stated that most of the people that did react to the launch simply said something like, "Why do we need another store for this?" Luckily for Leif, a breakthrough for the platform came in 2014. That year, the hugely popular Flappy Bird mobile game was removed from mobile app stores in February. That same month, a game dev by the name of SumPX hosted the Flappy Jam Game Jam through itch.io. Flappy Jam got a lot of attention due to the Flappy Bird hysteria, bringing hundreds of new users to the site. To this day, game jams are still an important part of itch.io. One particular game jam, hosted by the Game Maker's Toolkit, saw over 22,000 participants who created over 6,000 games in 2022. After the Flappy Jam, Leif needed to put much more work into the site because instead of 1 or 2 games being uploaded a day, itch.io was now seeing between 250 to 500 games uploaded a week. With these new demands on the platform, bugs in the code were starting to make themselves known and itch.io would randomly start going down. And now the questions that were starting to dawn on Leif were, should I be looking for investors? Am I starting a real company? Although itch.io enjoys a degree of revenue now, this wasn't always the case. By the end of its first year, itch.io was home to over 350 titles, and since Leif had forgone transaction fees to extend promotion and lure in early supporters, he was paying for all the costs for itch.io out of his own pocket. Eventually, Leif took the plunge and, using his savings from his job at Scribd, hired others to join in on the project in 2015. One of those hires was developer Amos Wegner, whose first assignment was to implement the cut slider for developers to choose the cut of sales to give to itch.io. The default of the slider is 10%. much lower than the 30% that the other platforms, such as Steam, take. In a gutsy move, Amos made it so that developers can bring that slider all the way down to 0, though Amos admits developers rarely do this. As Leaf stated, it's an option in case creators need more money for food or rent, further cementing itch.io as one of the most developer-friendly platforms. But that isn't the only thing itch.io has done to support its community. In 2016, itch.io began providing a program called Refinery for developers. Unlike early access on other platforms, Refinery gives developers a staging area for their launch, and in typical
So I can check. Okay. The camera is
itch.io fashion, gives developers a ton of control when it comes to distributing their game in this program, including limiting available game keys, offering tiered purchases, and including the option for a digital rewards program. This is unlike early access on other platforms, where developers might have to take a huge risk to release their potentially unpolished game to the public. With Refinery, developers can limit the exposure of their games in order to get vital information for polishing their titles without having to take large risks. Best of all, using Refinery is totally free. In 2015, Adam Saltzman, the developer of the survival strategy game Overland, spent months researching early access platforms for his game. He would pitch ideas on the types of features he would have liked to see for his early access game on these platforms, but they were all rejected or ultimately ignored, leaving Adam infuriated. Adam ended up running into Leaf at a developer event that same year, who, after hearing about Adam's frustrations, offered to custom build whatever Adam wanted for his early access release of Overland while it was in Refinery on itch.io. Overland ended up being one of the first titles to be featured in Refinery and has seen massive success across multiple platforms, including the Switch, PS4, and Xbox. In fact, the main reason why itch.io has been able to remain so popular is that it actively tries not to be like other platforms. It's itch.io's uniqueness and personability that sets it apart from other platforms and keeps it popular with independent developers. As the platform developed, Leaf would get increasingly odd requests from developers, such as from Alan Hazelden, who wanted the price for his title, A Good Snowman is Hard to Build, to have a launch period where the price of the game would be determined by the real-world temperature. Literally, within a day, Leaf said that he had implemented this control for the game. Another developer, named Takori, was able to customize their profile page on itch.io to very slowly zoom out over 800 seconds thanks to the freedom that itch.io gives developers for their profile pages. Over the years, Leaf and his team have been able to accommodate these weird and interesting requests, things that could not have been done on Steam or other larger game publishing platforms. And it's not just games that can be uploaded to itch.io. Creators can also upload things like books, music, and comics. It's also a place where users can go to raise money for different causes and charities, such as in June of 2020 during the George Floyd protests. itch.io organized the Bundle for Racial Justice and Equity, which raised over $8 million for the NAACP Legal Defense and Educational Fund, as well as the Community Bail Fund. Or, in March of 2022, when itch.io partnered with Microsoft Games and hundreds of other developers to launch the Bundle for Ukraine, which raised over $400,000 in just 24 hours. All money from the bundle went to the International Medical Corps and Voices for Children to provide assistance to civilians who have been impacted by the country's invasion by Russia. Now, in 2023, itch.io is encountering growing pains. For example, a growing user base comes with a growing number of game submissions, all of which are being manually reviewed by people. The only content that is rejected are things that are illegal or intentionally misleading, but it is still a massive amount of work for a small team. Work like this could be outsourced to bots, but that could be expensive and introduce the sort of artificial gatekeeping that Leaf was trying to avoid in the first place. Amos Wagner, the guy from before who helped develop the cut slider, thinks that the company will be at a happy place with 40 to 50 employees, but the concern with growing too big is legitimate for a company with a humble foundation that's just trying to offer an alternative commerce solution for games. But for now, the fact remains that itch.io is one of the most developer-friendly platforms with some of the most unique gaming experiences that you can find today. For a company born in Silicon Valley, resisting the urge to taking in investors or selling off the platform entirely is a monument to their resolve to sticking to their core values. It has never been a better time to be a digital content creator for itch.io, or even to upload the platform, go to the new and popular page and click on the first thing that you see. That's all for today, everyone. If you liked the video, feel free to leave a thumbs up below, and if you want to keep up with more content like this, feel free to hit the subscribe button as well. But thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all.
Okay. Video game explained. Let's see what else. What happened to mini clip? Oh my god, yeah. We can give this a try at some point. Okay, interesting. Let me see what else I have here on my watch later section. Mm. Why I use Unity over Unreal. This is something that I also did. And it's from Lana, a girl that I really appreciate and watch. So yeah.
I get asked this question literally every day, so I wanted to give a proper answer to it. First of all, it's a really good question because learning an engine takes a lot of time and it takes a lot of learning. And so I can understand people wanting to make the right decision right off the bat so that you don't have to go back and learn another engine. With that said, I don't think there's any harm in learning both of them. I think it'd be great to have both of those tools as part of your arsenal as a game developer. So if you do feel like switching down the road, don't feel like it's the end of the world and don't feel like you have too much pressure to decide between the two engines that you're paralyzed with indecision. There's also options outside of Unity and Unreal which have their benefits and pros and cons, but today we're just going to look at Unity versus Unreal. So Unreal used to take a 5% royalty fee on any game that you published, but now you only have to pay royalties once you make $1 million.
And this video was recorded 3 years ago, so maybe a lot of things changed. I don't really am up to date. Maybe you guys know the numbers, so yeah.
And Unity's always been,
If you don't know, make sure to check.
A monthly subscription. So when I was choosing between them, monthly subscription versus royalty fee was better to me. I knew I'd be launching on Steam, and Steam already takes a percentage of the sales, so cutting down how much of the game sales I actually get back was not very desirable at the time. So that was part of my decision making, though I suppose it will be a different decision making if you're looking to choose an engine right now. So besides the cost of the engine, I also knew that I wanted to be learning to code, or at least getting better at coding. I did have a background in web development, so I did quite a bit of front end, some back end, but it had been a while since I had done either. I wanted to get better at coding, and I really used to enjoy it, and since I wasn't doing it anymore, I missed it, and I wanted to keep doing it. If you know that you want to be doing coding like I did, you probably know, or you should know, that Unity uses C# and Unreal uses C++. Unreal also...
I find C++ easier than C#. What do you guys think about this?
ships with visual scripting, so you kind of like have this little cool little map and things feed into each other and they go through this pattern and you can visually see what the logic...
Oh, hello, Pollux. Are there rules how many games someone can release on each monthly? And what about the size of a game? Is it allowed to upload games that are over 100? No. I think, hold on, let me check because I actually got this issue. So let's literally try to post a new game right now. By the way, welcome here. Thank you very much for being here. So let's create a new project, and here you can see file size limit 1. So this is the file size limit, and about the how many games, I don't think there's a limit actually. I think you can release as many as you want. Let's actually ask this to make sure because it's a very, very good question. How many games can I release monthly? itch.io. Let's see. Uh, each day, no. I guess there's no limit, or maybe we can ask our friend. Wait, is there a limit? Let's see. There is no official limit. Yeah, because also here I can't find anything about that. So you saw the maximum size, but yeah, I'm glad we found the answers.
Of the game is. Whereas Unity, I believe.
By the way, the quality of this video is very, very bad, but I feel like what she says is very important. Like, keep this in mind. Thomas Brush, David Well, or I don't know exactly how to pronounce his name, Lenolox, are all my favorite YouTubers and the ones that I'm always watching.
Has some tools for that. At the time, Unity did not have that, but I knew that I wanted to do the actual like scripting, so I was basically choosing between C# and C++. I also knew that I was going to be doing a lot of learning, and Unity had a lot of support for that. So every time I looked up how to do something in Unity, there was answers with code, with examples, with snippets.
I also said this in my video that I posted today. By the way, if you haven't, make sure to check it because, yeah, I think it's a good video.
There was, the docs were very clear, and whenever I looked things up in Unreal, a lot of the time it was the blueprints and answers with blueprints. And I saw that a lot of the resources and community focused on the blueprint side of things and less on the C++. I also know that C++ you have to look at memory management, whereas in C# it's done for you. So there is a little bit of an extra learning curve with C++. So C# seemed way more accessible and it had more resources. So that was very appealing to me. And I'm not sure exactly how the community is for Unreal, but I still highly recommend learning to code. Even if you're not really that interested in, you know, a career in game development or anything, I think learning to code through Unity is so much fun and a great way to practice that. So that's why I chose Unity. Now you may be wondering, why am I still using Unity? Well, switching engines, as I mentioned earlier, would take time and learning. And that's not that intimidating nowadays because I've done so much learning to be able to make games. If you're like me doing the art side and the programming, there is so much learning involved that the amount of learning to switch engines and or programming languages is not as daunting at this point. But I do have to factor that point in. I also feel like I should mention that I've been using Unity every single day for 3 years. So I do know it pretty well at this point. And, you know, for me to get as efficient in Unreal as I am in Unity would take time. It would probably take some significant benefit in using Unreal for me to switch at this point. And I know that Unreal 6 has some amazing technology coming out, so that's pretty exciting. And
He's living the future.
maybe when it does come out, that would be something that I would look into. But for the time being, I'm pretty happy with Unity, and you know, the games that I want to make after the survival game I'm on right now, they would work really well in Unity. So I'm not really looking to switch at this point. If you're asking this question, if you're watching this video, and you're thinking about choosing between them, I'm great to see that you are doing some research. And again, don't get paralyzed with indecision. There's a lot of great engines out there. They'll help you. You'll learn. It's going to be a lot of fun. So don't be too intimidated, and good luck. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you on Twitch. That's probably where you came from, most likely. So we'll see you on there. Bye-bye.
Hold on. I'm gonna try to find something else that's interesting in my watch later list. This is strange because I have downloaded last week 2 games at each that was bigger than 1 GB. Now I'm a little confused. It's also weird because when I uploaded, I also had to make sure. You know what you can do? Because hold on, I can show you actually something. Just give me 1 sec. For example, if we are gonna check my game, so my first game ever that I did, where was it? Build folder, I think here. Let's see. No, the build folder itself. Let's see how big is it. You can see here. But the thing is, if you zip the folder, maybe, hopefully, it's gonna work. You can try to that. That's also what I did, and for me, it worked. I can't guarantee it's gonna work 100%, but you can try this method and maybe it's gonna work out for you. As I said, hopefully. Okay. Let's see if this is interesting enough.
If you'd
Not
asked me just a few years ago, my biggest
trying to find something very interesting. Last video for tonight.
The coolest feature in Gears of War is definitely the active reload. Here's how it works. Every time you reload your gun, you're invited to play a tiny minigame. A cursor swipes along a line, and you can hit reload again to try and win a prize. Land here, and you'll reload super fast. Land here, and you'll also get a weapon boost, like more powerful bullets. But land anywhere else, and your gun will jam. It's a great feature, adding tension, skill, and flourish to one of the most basic actions in shooters. But it also left Epic with a problem. You see, in playtesting, the devs found that advanced players were nailing that perfect reload, constantly giving them better bullets and thus an advantage over the enemies. So they had to rebalance all of the foes, making them more resistant. But beginner players often ignored the active reload entirely, so they didn't get that weapon buff and were now fighting these overpowered bad guys with weak bullets. So much of game design is about solving problems like this. You come up with an idea and then find out that it's flawed in some way. It's unbalanced, it's confusing, it's not leading to the gameplay you intended, or it's clashing with some other feature in the game. And as a designer, you can often find yourself going around in circles to find the right solution. Surely, there's a better way. Well, in this episode, let's look at how the best game creators go about solving problems in their design. To give us some take-home tips,
one game that I downloaded was unzipped over 2 GB unpacked. That's weird. That's very weird. Hold on. Good morning, I'm creating a game and I would like to know the maximum size that the site allows for the upload. Can someone explain to me? Okay. Any regular account will have a 1 GB upload limit per file. Okay. Let's see. Butler, what's that? Alpha size. What can I do? Make your game smaller. Seriously, there is a good no reason for an indie game to hit the 1 GB limit. There is barely a good reason for even a to hit. That's Dream offer more. Final Fantasy. What's this game about? It made me curious now. Not really my type. Okay. I guess it's one. See? I don't know, honestly, but this is what we can find also on the website. Um, I'm also very, very tired and I don't think I can resist anymore. I want to return tomorrow with C# live streams and try to make them daily, starting from tomorrow until Thursday. Hopefully, it's gonna work. I don't know exactly the time when I'm gonna be live, but see you guys there. Take care and good night.